up, you guys? My name is Hilary Pradia Watkins. I'm the founder of the Stuck Between series. The Stuck Between series is a creative content platform that helps millennials get through the phases of life that make us feel stuck. So today, I'm continuing my video talking about my Stuck Between English and Spanish journey. In my previous video, if you haven't seen it, go watch it first. I told you guys that I was going to space, so your girl is back, okay? I brought my salsa moves, I brought my Spanish, yo hablo español completamente. So I have so many, y'all. I mean, I'm gonna try to make this video as organized as I can, but I had so much fun in Spain. Also went to Portugal and Germany, which I'll tell you guys about that as well. But we have so much to talk about. I cannot wait to share all this information with you. So this is my study abroad recap video, and if this video gets a little bit too long, I'll record a part 2 as well, because I don't want to have a super long 30-minute video. I want to get you guys all the information without you guys sitting here for a long time. I mean, unless you just want to hang out, but you know. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started into my study abroad recap video, and possibly part 1. My study abroad trip lasted about 35 days, and it was about 4 weeks of coursework. I went to the University of Santiago de Compostela. It's called the Universidad de Santiago de Compostela, and Santiago de Compostela is in the northern part of Spain, in a area called Galicia, and that's where I was for about 4 weeks. And in 35 days, I went to 7 cities, 3 different countries: Spain, Portugal, and Germany. I probably took about 7 flights. I had a train ride, a couple bus rides, y'all, so many taxis, Ubers. I mean, I traveled literally everywhere, and I've never walked this much in my life. Y'all, Europe, when I tell you Europeans, the reason why they find it slim is because they walk everywhere. And I'll make a separate video talking to you guys about European life, and if you're thinking about moving to Europe or traveling to Europe for a long period of time, like what to expect. But child, life over there is so different than life in Texas. In my time of travel, I learned so much. So I want to break this video down in about 3 different sections. That way you guys can kind of follow along and understand my journey efficiently. I'll break it up in 3 different parts. So first, I'll talk about university life. The second thing that I'll talk about is my host family experience, and then the third thing is like my city adventures. So university life was cool, and since I was going abroad, I was considered an international student, right? I think I told you guys in my previous video. Again, if you haven't watched it, go see that first, because that will help this to make more sense. I'm currently a grad student at Houston Baptist University, and before I graduate in December with my master's, I'm so excited. But before I graduated, I told myself, you have to go study abroad. You've always wanted to do this. Now is the time, because if you're not really connected to a university, it may be a little bit harder to do. So that's the reason why I decided to go study abroad. HBU has a relationship with the University of Santiago de Compostela, so that's the reason why I was able to go to that university through my current university. So the first day of class, you're supposed to take a few different types of exams. So one is written, and the other one is you're having a conversation with another person, and they're really just trying to gauge your level of proficiency, whether you know the language or whether you don't. And so that's how they know what classes to put you in. And I was so embarrassed, and I was like, this is so trash, because it's not their fault. I'm talking about myself. I'm trash because I have a whole freaking Spanish minor, but I haven't taken a Spanish class since about 2015. That kind of hurt me. So day 1 was kind of difficult, because I realized that, girl, you done lost this language that you learned. So I started my classes on the second day, day 2, and the way that they broke up the classes was you have the first 4 hours of the day, you're learning the language. So they're going through drills, you're having to read out loud, your professor only speaks to you in Spanish, which is very similar to how Spanish classes run in the States, and they're very similar to my classes at the University of Houston. And so they only speak in Spanish for the first 4 hours, and that is your language classes. So from 9 a.m. to about 1 o'clock p.m., that's all you're doing for 4 hours. You're learning the language. And so they do give you like a 30-minute break in between, from like 11:15 about 11:45. And then the second part of the class, that one is like a culture class. So you learn more about Spanish culture. It's it's a little more relaxed. Your teacher is more engaging, a lot more friendly, because they're trying to give you Spanish culture, you know. So I really enjoyed my culture classes, but if I'm honest with you guys, I hate it 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. And the reason why I think I strongly disliked it was because my professor was rude. And I've taken, in my lifetime, I've taken over 10 different Spanish classes with 10 different people, and I've never experienced the level of rudeness that I experienced when I went to Spain and had my first Spanish professor. And she was rude to the point to where if you asked her something in Spanish, of course she would explain it back in Spanish, because of course when you're speaking English, you use English words to describe something. If I really didn't understand something, yes, I would read, you know, at home and things like that and try to understand it. Most of the time I would bring my laptop or have my phone, because I would be reading, just trying to get like translations and stuff like that. And you didn't understand her Spanish definition of it, she would get an attitude, and I just be like, bro, I don't know what you're saying. And the Spanish in Spain is completely different from Spanish in the United States. Por ejemplo, cuando quieres decir ok en inglés, es ok en los Estados Unidos, pero también es baile en español de España. So what I just said was, in the US, when you're speaking Spanish, you say okay, okay-y. In Spain, you say baile, which is B, no, not B, Lord Jesus, V, that's pronounced like a B, V-A-L-E. And they say baile with everything, right? So there's a lot of words that I've learned in the United States that are different. And so sometimes when she would speak, I would not understand what she was saying, because I'm trying to get used to hearing Spanish with the lisp again. And so not only do you have a person speaking, using words that I didn't learn, that I haven't learned for these past, I don't know, 12 years that I've been like learning Spanish and on this Spanish journey. And so you're using different words, and then you're also saying them with the lisp. That's a whole lot to try to like digest and understand. So that, bro, it really, honestly, if I'm honest, it really pissed me off, because I'm just like, I'm here to learn language. I don't understand you. Please help me. And I had a side conversation with her one day, and I said, hey, I'm really struggling in your class. I do not understand. And so she was like, okay, I'll put some things in your drive to be able to help you. And so I would read, you know, the stuff in drive, but I really didn't feel like it was helpful. So I did a lot of research on the internet to try to figure out like verb conjugations and try to know the Spain version of the same word that I've learned in the US, you know, and so it just got to a point where I was just like, I don't even want to take this class anymore. And I told myself that, you know what, you're here for a purpose, you're here for a specific reason, you know, forget her, it's not about her, it's about the information that you need. In the past, to be completely honest with you guys, when I struggle with something, I just be like, bro, I'm out, you know. But this time I was like, no, I'm here for the challenge. I'm here to be uncomfortable, and I'm very uncomfortable. So I guess this is working. And so she called herself going off on a lot of students. She was very rude. But again, it's not about her, it's about the language. And ultimately, if I'm completely honest with you, I learned so much more outside of her classroom than I learned inside of her classroom. But it's funny, because in my second class, the stuff that I was learning outside of the class made sense in my culture class. So I think that the approach that even though they would teach you different things, their approach to wanting to give you information was very different. They came with a very different energy, which made the class have a different energy. They came just wanting to teach and give you information. And I feel like the attitude of my first professor, my first class, it was more so like, you need this information, you know, take it or leave it, but you're here for this. And more so, my other professors, Rob was more so like, welcome to Spain, we're so happy to have you, this is a language, you know, get into it, honey. Like, that's how I felt. So I think I did better in my second class, and they didn't really give us grades or anything. It was kind of like a pass or fail thing, just because if you came and you were committed and you finished it until the end, it went well. I think I'm gonna have to create another video to talk about pros and cons of study abroad programs. So university life in the classroom, it was okay. I'm sure it would have been better had I had a different professor in the beginning, like for my first class, but my experience there, it was just okay. Another part of the university experience is that they had excursions for us. So 2 days a week, we would do something together, whether that would be like a dance class or a city tour or something like that. They would make sure that 2 days a week we did something for students in the program. So in my study abroad program, there wasn't just students from Houston Baptist University, there were students from all over the world. And so I would have classes with people from Korea, China, I would have classes with students from FIT in New York, I had students from Tennessee, I mean literally just all over. So it was really cool to be in a classroom with students from all over the world, because you start to realize that the way that you learn stuff, at least in America, the way that we learn things is kind of like closed-minded. So when you're in the classroom, you get perspectives from so many different types of students. So that was really cool to hear what happens in these different countries. And the students were actually very, very excited to learn about America, but I was just equally excited to learn about life in other countries. So I thought that was really cool as well. Next, host family experience. Whew. All right. Oh, Jesus. All right, so I want to be honest about my host family experience, and I'm gonna create another video talking about my host family experience because it was so I'm trying to say the nice way. It was such a punch you in your face type of experience. I'm not gonna lie. It was probably the most uncomfortable situation I've ever been in my entire life. To sum up what I'm saying, to keep this video short and sweet, I did not have a good host family experience. And like I said, I'll record another video to talk to you guys about in depth why that experience was not the best experience I think I could have had. So overall, I would recommend a study abroad experience for everybody just because it's a life-changing experience. And I do think that my Spanish improved because I lived in Spain. I had to live just like a local, so I didn't feel like I was on vacation. I felt like I was a student here to learn a specific thing, and I think I got what I was looking for. So I would highly recommend study abroad to everybody. If you're watching part 1, make sure you go ahead and watch part 2. If you've watched part 2, make sure you stay tuned for the next video, and that video is going to be called The Truth About Living with a Host Family. I've started talking about it, but your girl got so much more to say about that. So make sure you stay tuned. I have a vlog up as well entitled University Life. So there's a bunch of things that you can get connected on, honey, okay? There's also a blog. The Stuck Between series does have a blog on my website. So go check out a couple of those blogs. I'll talk more about the study abroad experience, travel, preparing for that, and even a few other blogs about different other topics. So there's a bunch of stuff you can get into, honey. Make sure you press that subscribe button so you can stay connected, so you'll be alert, you'll be aware of what's going on here at the Stuck Between series. And until the next video, I'm out, y'all. That was so lame. Bye. I probably need to do a vlog showing y'all my Spanish moves because your girl got them, okay? Your girl got them. I'm out here fluent, you know? I'm out here fluent, like.